Hello, welcome to CLSB Politics. Um, it's my New Year's show. Happy New Year's, everybody. I'm going to put this out at noon today, so that way everyone can learn about all the fun stuff that I hope we can get done in the next few years before you guys go all and have a great time tonight. I plan to sing a bunch of karaoke and generally have a good time with some friends. I'm looking forward to that. So, first, um, I'm going to steal a plan from the Republicans. They steal a lot of stuff from us anyway, so might as well return the favor. So, those of us that are old enough, and I'm not, because I was very, very young. I was like 3 when they really put this plan into action. So, in the late 70s, a man named Karl Rove, of whom I'm sure you guys have all heard, he's persona non grata in the Republican Party these days, but there would be no Republican Party at the level that they are at today without Karl Rove, 100%. I actually did a show a few months ago talking about exactly what this was, what this kind of outlined, right? The way it boiled down to is Karl Rove and a couple of his buddies got the idea of putting the entire voter reg of Texas into what would be classified as the great 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 grandfather of Excel, right? A spreadsheet, basically. It was reel to reel hard drives. There's a real famous photo. I've actually put it on the other show. Karl Rove took the entire voter reg of Texas and all the membership lists for all the evangelical churches, figuring that with a bit of media and a little bit of money, they would be able to leverage these individuals who generally did not vote back then into supporting their conservative issues, cutting taxes for the rich, things of that nature. And they would leverage it on the abortion issue, which Roe had been decided a couple years before that. So he and his buddies cross-referenced and figured out who wasn't registered to vote and then got them all registered to vote. And that's how it happened. They did that in the very late, in like 78, took a whole bunch of seats in the legislature, took that nationally, and then Reagan won with really is probably the last landslide we've ever seen in this country. The Democrats were caught with their pants down. No one saw it coming. Reagan won a myriad of seats, and now that with the passing of Carter, I mean, we all know the facts are that Reagan acted as a legal arbitrator for our country before he was in office. With Iran to hold off on releasing the hostages till after the election. His, all the money, artificially created, in my opinion, the gas shortages and things of that nature. This is before the U.S. was energy independent, so we were really, if the international community wanted to affect the elections, they literally just back then just had to turn off the spigot for gas, and it affects its elections pretty hard. And now they do it in different ways. They run planes into buildings and things of that nature to prop up very, very weak presidents with under 40% approval ratings. They do that. That's because that's really the only thing that happens. You can't understand the United States is so powerful. And certainly in the last 30 years, we used our Navy, because it was the only one after World War II that was in existence, to create the New Order and to allow shipping. And as long as you fought against the Soviets, your shipping would go on. You could move goods from point A to point B, and it would be no problem. Now, that's getting a bit off topic, but it's connected. So that's how Karl Rove affected the election, was doing that database work where he connected the two. And then they played in 50 states, and then they won in, it was like 47, 46 of them. It was ridiculous. We'll never see that again, thank God. But I'm going to steal from that. Not the working with the Iranians or any of that nonsense. I'm not doing any of that nonsense. But about the whole idea of going into the Republican backyard and eating their lunch. I think that's what's left. That's what we need to do. Obama ran a 50-state strategy in 2008. Believe me, I mean, we never thought we would win Texas, but that didn't stop them from sending pallets of door hangers to us. So yeah, I think a 50-state strategy is the way to go. I have an idea on 10 of them. They're in the South. Now, real quick, I wanted just as a caveat, the scope is specific. It's not the full South. It's not Florida and Texas, but it's Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Okay, it's all those. And my idea is that we go in and we build out in 25. Now, we'll actually have to play in a few of these states in 25. But by 26, we're targeting state house seats. And I've already done all the heavy lifting on the state house seats. So I already know where we're going to go. So, but that's the plan. Now, the Floridians on my channel and the Texans on my channel, I feel your pain. But you got to understand. We can't, if I took all the money in these 10 states and threw it into Texas, I'd still have to triple it. Or we can go work on 10 states. You know, the last time Texas was economically feasible to run by a major party was probably in the 90s when the Republicans did it. That was really probably the last, well, really Karl Rove in the 80s, but you know what I mean. Rick Perry, sorry, excuse my French. Rick Perry was a Democrat. People forget. But they all changed sides because they saw where the money was. That was like the last time that state of Texas was affordably, with a decent ROI, you could go in. And keep in mind, it's tripled in population since then. And that's really the kicker. You got almost 40 million people in this state. Probably 40 million people in the next couple of years will be in this state. Harris County, where Houston is, just that county, never mind the surrounding counties, which are also 500,000 registered voters each, but that one's 2.4 million registered voters. There's not that many registered voters in Wisconsin. So you have to understand it's not, it's just, I would rather win in 10 states than lose in one state. And that's what it boils down to. Florida is the same thing. You got 9 counties. You have to run in. Texas, you got 19 counties you got to run in. Florida, you got 9 that you absolutely have to run in. And it's brutal. It's expensive. Their media markets are some of the highest in the country. Texas has 4 or 5 of the top 10. I think the other, and then you got New York, you got LA, and then you got the Florida. So, what are you going to do? So spending money is just it just burns. And it's just too expensive. Whereas Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Virginia. Virginia is not inexpensive, but there's a reason we're going there, and I'll get into that a little bit. So that's why, guys. That's why it's the Southern, but without the end pieces. So my big plan. So the goal of this program would be to increase Democratic engagement by 30% in all 10 states. Knock on over 4 million doors, talk on close to 1 million voter households, reach out digitally to another 4 million households on top of that. So, and I'd like to win 70 state house seats and multiple municipal races across 10 states. Between 25, 26 alone, and then go back in using all the data we've collected and hammer out a few more wins in 28, including a presidential. That's the goal. The Republicans can't afford to lose any states. Like there are always like 5 paths to victory for the Democrat. There's usually, if they lose Georgia or they lose Florida or they lose, they have to split the Midwestern states. They can't lose any of those in order to win. I mean, they just cannot. So that's kind of my goal. That's the whole idea behind this program. It's 4 phases, 1 phase per year. What you got to know about that is 25 and 27 are kind of the same. 26 and 28 are, well, 28 is 28. 26 is going to be a large targeted state house universe. So it's a 4-phase program. Its goals are to develop leaders and to do a customized regional digital campaign, fortify each of the following years as it goes across, and do a tactical piece of mail. And I mean tactical. I'm not doing mail drops like to every address. I mean backing up the contact that our canvassers have already made. So it could be as much as 1 million pieces of mail. And let me tell you guys, you want to talk about spending money in politics, go drop some mail. Mail will freak you out. The math is crazy. Now, when I started doing mail, it was 15 cents a stamp. It's now 4 times that. So, and ink and paper. And that's also gone up, but nothing like postage. So you want to, I always tell my candidates, mail is like moving dirt in construction. In construction, you're not spending money until you're moving the dirt. In politics, you are not spending money until you're putting postage on ink and paper. It is insane. The amount of money, in my opinion, wasted on mail in this country for politics is insane. So phase 1, it's really a story about Virginia, Louisiana, and Alabama. Now, Virginia has all of their state level stuff. And I kind of break that down here. Virginia's got their governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, all their state house seats and state senate, and a bunch of municipals. I mean, you can't throw a rock but hit a campaign in Virginia in 2025. And I was actually there in 23. My team, we were tasked with targeting 5 state house seats, of which we won 4 of those 5. So I do speak from personal experience on the ground with field in Virginia. The other one's Louisiana. It's a lot of municipals, and they have like an open primary. It's like nothing I've ever actually seen before. It's kind of crazy. I'm fascinated to dig deeper into their races because it's crazy. But they have a state Supreme Court race that's also going down. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And that's also not sane. And then Alabama's got a bunch of municipal races. And you understand some of these municipals is that in both Virginia, Louisiana, and Alabama, municipal races are wholly underfunded. I've worked a couple dozen city council races in my career. And you would freak out how little money is spent in those. So going in with an organized field program that we're talking about, kitchen table issues, endorsing candidates, if that's, how that system allows, or what have you. But just being able to go out there and really just tell people about the race that's even happening. Most people have no idea there's a municipal race going on. I mean, yeah, I think definitely most people do not know who their reps are. Most people have no idea who their city council person is. I mean, anyway, you're lucky if they know their mayor. Real quick, like and subscribe this page. Share it with friends. If you wish to support this work, you can PayPal us at CLSB Politics. I just also like to give a shout out to all the people that have sent money. It's really been very helpful. It actually was very helpful in Wisconsin because I was able to, do some stopgaps and stuff. So you can, every dollar that goes into this ends up on this screen effectively. I do have a few journals that I subscribe to, and the those journals allow me to have a, kind of like an augmentedly larger staff, whereas I don't have to. It's almost like there's a bunch of us just splitting the cost of the work, so that way we can all get it. So there's journals, there's certain Patreon streaming services where I pull information from and things of that nature. It basically all goes in and allows me to do that fun stuff. So if you really want to support this work, please PayPal. Thank you. And also thank you to everyone. The $4 donations, the $25 donations, all of it helps. So appreciative. And surprised. I mean, I was told to do this and they're like, oh, you'll get it. I mean, it's like, man, it'd be great if I could offset the cost of some of this stuff. And they're like, you should just put it on PayPal. I'm like, all right. And then lo and behold, people stepped up and helped me out. Could not tell you how much that meant to me. Incredible. Back to work. All right. So my field strategy is basically, you got the scope. We talked about that a little bit. But it boils down to about 80% of the field program in each state's going to be built around a paid field program. And then 20 of it will be volunteer. Now the 20 that's volunteer is kind of drip, drip, drip. You're not doing, 2,000 doors a day, but you're doing like 50 or 100 doors a day. Now added up over, 40 weeks, even if you're doing 500 doors a week, times 40, I mean, you can see it adds up real quick, and you actually can get some real. Plus, it's also people taking ownership of their neighborhoods. Volunteer canvassing is, in my opinion, it is the work that changes minds. Paid canvassing is like taking a machine gun and blasting out a bunch of stuff. You're going to hit a lot of stuff. You're going to hit a lot of stuff that's not great. Your staff, can be good and bad. Whereas volunteers are out there for a reason. They're angry. They're motivated. I love volunteers. And the goal would be to develop local talent. Those volunteers might go, you know what? I can do this. I can run for city council. I could run for state house. And then we come back in 2026 and go, hey, you remember you said you wanted to run for city council? How about we talk about that a little bit? Or state house. You knocked on every door in your district already once. You're already running. You don't even know it. So it's really trying to develop that talent. And that's what the Republicans have been doing to us for 40 years. Their candidates are bat crazy, but they win because they know their neighborhoods. They know where the money's at. They know where the power people are, the people that control the neighborhoods, that know where all the registered voters are. They've already they're a known quantity. They say all politics is local. That's no joke. It is all local. So that's kind of the main goal of my field program strategy. So we break it up. Basically, there's 4 teams that are canvassing. You've got your Memphis team, which is Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi. Your Central team, which is Georgia, Kentucky. I know it's a little weird, but it does work out math-wise. Your Gulf team, which is Louisiana, Alabama. And that team is going to be focused mostly on municipal races. And then you got your Carolina team. And then you've got your special team. It's a little bit messed up there, but it's Virginia. And that's special because it's at the end of the year. Because remember, I told you there's a bunch of stuff going on in Virginia. Okay, so the field program process is quite straightforward. I've already gone through and I've kind of found all the state house seats and municipalities that are worth targeting. And you can see on this map that they're kind of clustered. You can see that there's groups, right? So you've got up there in the northwestern Arkansas, you've got the Memphis area, you've got Atlanta, hello. But then you've got areas that are kind of spread out. South Carolina. So one way to look at this is the more spread out it is, the more expensive it's going to be, because it's geography and travel time and it's money. Gas, think gas, rental cars, things of that nature. The way I've broken it down is that I know how many weeks it would take to canvass do a paid canvas. Keep in mind, the whole time we're doing this, we also have the volunteer canvas going. Might even recruit from the volunteer canvas to augment the paid canvas, but the paid canvas is only going to be there maybe 2 months out of 12. So we want the paid canvas to come in heavy, get some big numbers, allow us to clear out a few spots that might be harder for volunteers, or maybe we just don't have volunteers in that part of town. We can go in there and just take care of that, and then let the volunteers do their thing. And the way it works out is, I know how many doors per hour a canvasser can hit. I know this is all based around a budget. I'm not going to get into that. But you're looking at 37 weeks for the Memphis team, 20 for the Virginia team, 36 for the Central Gulf team will be 21, and the Carolina will be 37. Now, that Virginia team in the 20, those would be the last 4 or 5 months of the year. They're really at the back end. And that's because they have a hard November election that's going to have multiple state house seats. They're going to have, statewide. It's just every level is going to be active. And if we can get in there those last 5 months, that's going to be the money. And that's how we're going to win that. So just to kind of give you an idea of the size of each state, because it's kind of hard, because it's like, this is not stuff that normal people think about. So weeks in each state: Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, and basically all of them, all the way up to Virginia, have approximately the same populations. But whereas Alabama is the smallest population, and it's going to have the fewer doors. It's just that simple. And then you've got Virginia, Georgia, and North Carolina. Those are some big states. They got lots of doors, and they don't play. I mean, Georgia, oh my God. I mean, Atlanta, go look at a population map. I've got one. It's a population map of Atlanta. You'll see that right in the middle, it's like Atlanta. And then you've got Georgia all around the edges. It's insane. So that's why when you go back, here, I'll go back real quick. And you see this cluster right there in the center of Georgia. That's not by accident. Those are the state house seats that either need protection or need to be taken from the Republicans. Now, keep in mind, we're training people this whole time. We're engaging people this whole time. So we're going to develop new leaders, younger leaders that can then step up and run for state house, run for Congress, run for something. You got to undo the damage that's being done and will be done over the next 4 years. It's no use crying over presidential executive orders. I'm not doing it. It's going to be bad. He's going to do a lot of stuff, but I'm just not going to participate in the morning service while it's all going down. I'd rather us just look forward and keep pushing. So to give you an idea what that kind of looks like, I'll run through this pretty quick. This is the Memphis team. Now you can see how I cascade out all of their paid field programs out to 32 weeks, from week 1 to 32. And because the largest program will be 15 weeks, the shortest one will be 10, and then I've got one that's just a little bit higher than that. That team doesn't have to geographically move that much, since they're pretty much centered right there in that area. So Georgia and Kentucky, boy, that's why I gave Kentucky and Georgia together. Kentucky's not really that heavy of a lift. Georgia is a 25-week program. It does not play. It is so many doors. It is a lot. Then remember I said Louisiana and Alabama are weird. Yeah, they're weird. Like, because you've got multiple different election days starting. The red one is is Alabama, and then in the middle there you've got a Supreme Court race at the beginning, and you've got this weird open primary thing at the end, and municipals all through it. It's very, very strange. Louisiana is a unique area to run campaigns, put it that way. And then you've got the North Carolina, South Carolina team. Kind of looks a lot like Kentucky and in Atlanta. I mean, in Georgia. I say Atlanta because that's 80% of our field program. But North Carolina is huge. and it's more spread out. So logistics here are more complicated. And then you got Virginia. It's really kind of starts in around week 27 and it goes all the way till November, straight through. And it is a lot of doors spread out over many state house seats. And this is what the whole program looks from beginning to end, all 47 weeks of it. It is a very, very big and very heavy lift. But the staff and the professionalism that will come out of this program, walking out of 25 into 26, would be profound. And just to give you guys an idea of what percentage each field program is, I mean, you're looking at the Carolinas, you're looking at, it is as broken down and spread out as possible. Keep in mind, Virginia is kind of like the end game. But it's a lot of work, and it's work that can be done and it should be done. And I think this is the plan. This is just my opening. I'm going to do another 10 shows on this, talking about each state, talk about the state house seats specifically. So this is another long show. We've got lots to work on. But thank you for staying this long and listening. Like and subscribe. Again, if you wish to support this channel, it is very, very helpful. And I would just like to thank all of you that have. Sorry about the break, but as you can see, this is like this much of what I've been working on the last 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm going back to Wisconsin to go work on the Supreme Court race that takes place in April. So if I was going to put any of this together, this was the time I needed to do it. And this represents probably 150 hours worth of work. But that's why I was kind of not around so much. But that's going to change. I'm going to have a show coming out about every other day or every 3 days, and keep you guys posted. And I'll do shows from Wisconsin when I get there. I'll be there mid next month, and it'll take me a little bit to get situated. But once I'm situated, I'll be more than happy to talk about what it is that we're going to be doing in Wisconsin. All right, everybody. So this was lots of fun. I hope everyone has a great New Year's. Happy New Year's to everybody. I'll see you guys on the other side. You guys have a good one. All right, bye.